Staccato, the jumpy frog, and Legato, the smooth fish, are back to teach us more about jumpy and smooth, and frogs and how they speak around the world, and fish who don't say much around the world at all. So, a couple videos back, we did a greeting song called Dipidu from Ghana, and Staccato and Legato are going to sing Dipidu. So make sure you put your voice back and forth from being jumpy to smooth, okay? Good morning, good morning. How are you? How are you? Good morning, good morning. Dippy-doo, dippy-doo, dip, dip, dippy-doo, dip, 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 dippy-doo. Good morning, good morning. How are you? How are you? Good morning, good morning. Dippy-doo, dippy-doo. So Staccato and Legato have this very different feel to them. And we're going to do some frog dancing to start off with. Just putting my puppets down there. This is an old American fiddle tune. And it's got a whole part where you're supposed to jump, which is every time I'm not singing in English, okay? So in this song, there are the words in English, and then there are these nonsense syllables. We've talked about vocables, or parts of music that aren't words, but they're sung. Now, I suspect that the vocable, the nonsense syllable in this song, vocables are not always nonsense syllables, by the way, but the nonsense syllables in this song were actually just something that the fiddler, while he or she was fiddling away at this song, it's just some words they threw in while people were dancing, and then someone wrote those words down and they became part of this song. But what you guys have to do is sit yourselves down like you're a frog on a lily pad. And as you're sitting on that lily pad, you are listening. So every time I'm not singing English, you're going to jump around. Now at the beginning, pay close attention because there's a little English and then a little nonsense, and a little English, and then a little nonsense. And then there's a whole lot of nonsense words where you can jump around a lot, and then you gotta sit down again, okay? You ready? So, there was an old frog who lived in a spring. Ching chang kitty, won't you carry me? Oh, that was jumping. He was so hoarse he could not sing. Ching chang kitty, won't you carry me? Oh, more jumping. Keemo Kimo, do ro war. My high, my low, my silly willy pull my tail. Penny winkle, soap suds, lincorn, nip cat. Ching chang kitty, won't you carry me? Oh. All right, sit down. Well, he could not sing, but he could dance. Ching chang kitty, won't you carry me? Oh. And he could make that whole pond prance. Ching chang kitty, won't you carry me? Oh. Keemo Kimo, do ro war, my high, my low, my silly willy pomadel, penny winkle, soap suds, lincorn, nip cat. Ching chang kitty, won't you carry me? Oh. Well, I went to sing with that old frog. Ching chang kitty, won't you carry me? Oh. We danced our way through the whole bog. Ching chang kitty, won't you carry me? Oh. Keemo Kimo, do ro war, my high, my low, day. Ching chang kitty, won't you carry me home? We had so much fun as we played. Ching chang kitty, won't you carry me home? Keemo Kimo, Doro, Arma, Hi, Malo, a silly willy pumadel, penny winkle, soap suds, licorn, nip cat. Ching chang kitty, won't you carry me home? Ching chang kitty, won't you carry me home? Ching chang kitty, won't you carry me home? Ooh, you guys must be tired from all that jumping around. So now sit yourselves down again, like a frog again. And here comes staccato. So we talked about how frogs don't all say ribbit. In different parts of the world, they say their sound in a different way. So in English, we've gotten used to frogs saying ribbit. But in other parts of the world, sometimes they say quack, 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 or ga-ack, ga-ack, or giro, 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 giro. So we're going to do a couple songs from different parts of the world where the frogs are speaking different languages. Okay? Now, in most songs, frogs also jump, right? So in this song comes from Israel. It's just called Tzfardea Yeruka, green frog. And in Hebrew, frogs say qua, 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 qua. So this frog is also going to jump at a certain point. So be sitting and waiting until you see and hear the frog jump. And then you're going to give a big jump. And then the frog is going to catch different parts of my body. So catch that part of your body. Ready? Everybody sit like a frog. Qua, 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 qua. Tzfardea Yeruka. Kafza, kvitza. Kafza, kvitza. Kafza, kvitza. Ve'et ha'af tafsa. Caught my nose. Sit down again. Qua, 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 qua. Tzfardea Yeruka. Kafza, kvitza. Kafza, kvitza. Kafza, kvitza. Ve'et ha'ozen tafsa. Qua, 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 qua. Tzfardea Yeruka. Kafza, kvitza. Kafza, kvitza. Kafza, kvitza. Ve'et hayad tafsa. Oh, qua, 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 qua. Tzfardea Yeruka. Kafza, kvitza. Kafza, kvitza. Kafza, kvitza. Ve'et hazvuv tafsa. What do you think that was there at the end? Zzz. That was a frog's favorite food. That was a fly. So, I bet you understood a lot of that. First we tafsa af, we caught our nose. Tafsa ozen, we caught our ear. Tafsa yad, we caught our arm. And zzz, tafsa zvuv, we caught a fly. Quack, 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 green frog. Now we are going to go to Japan. And the frogs in Japan say quack, quack, and giro, giro, at least in this song. They might say different things in different songs. And this song is also a round. So when we can all get together again, we'll also learn this song as a round where different parts get sung at different times. But it starts like this. Kaeru no utaka keiko ete kuyo gwa 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 Giro, 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 gua, 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 gua. Giro, 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 gua, gua, gua. Kaeru no utaga kikoete kuru yo. Gua, 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 gua. Giro, 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 gua, 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 gua. Giro, 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 gua, gua, gua. So, while you're sitting, you're gonna sit on that lily pad until we get to the gua, gua, gua part. Ready? Kaeru no utaga kikoete kuru yo. Gua, 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 gua. Giro, 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 gua, gua, gua. Gua, 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 gua. Giro, 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 gua, gua, gua. So one more time. You sit until we get to the gua part and then you can jump. Kaeru no utaga kikoete kuru yo. Gua, 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 gua. Giro, 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 gua, gua, gua. Gua, 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 gua. Giro, 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 gua, gua, gua. Now we're going to look at that song with notes, because this has all the notes that you know in it. Okay? So do you remember our notes? Ta and titi and tafatefe. They are all in our Japanese frog song. Ti 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 ta. Ti 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 ta. Ta 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 ta. Tafatefe ti ti ta. Ta 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 ta. Tafatefe ti ti ta. So with the words, Kaeru no utaga kikoete kuru yo. Gua, 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 gua. Giro, 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 ga, gua, 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 gua. Giro, 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 gua, gua, gua. And if we wanted to add piano and forte, we can do it any way we want. But let's say we're going to do piano there, and that when we do the frog sounds, we're going to make it forte. Okay? You ready? So, shh. Kaeru no utaga kikoete kuru yo. Gua, 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 gua. Giro, 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 gua, gua, gua. Gua, 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 gua. Giro, 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 gua, gua, gua. Now just for the fun of it, let's switch it around. Let's make the beginning forte and the second part piano. Kaeru no utaga kikoete kuru yo. Gua, 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 gua. Giro, 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 gua, gua, gua. Gua, 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 gua. Giro, 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 gua, gua, gua. So you decide what makes more sense, where you think should be the piano or the forte. And then, of course, we can add an instrument, okay? We can add our drum, and remember, you can do it if you don't have a drum like this at home. You can do it with a leftover dish and a spoon or the top of a leftover dish, but let's try it now with the drum. We're gonna go Ti, 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 ta. Ti, 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 ta. Ta, 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 ta. Tuffa, tiffa, tuffa, tiffa, ti, ti, ta. Ta, 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 ta. Tuffa, tiffa, tuffa, tiffa, ti, ti, ta. And of course, we could also do it with an instrument that has notes on it, like the xylophone. So we'll bring this song back in our next video when we're starting to learn about notes. Okay? So that is what the Japanese frog song looks like and sounds like when we add our notes to it that we can see with our eyes, and our piano and forte that we can hear with our ears, and our drum or our xylophone or any other instrument that we want to play along. Okay? Next song is a Swedish frog song. Hang on while I renegotiate. Okay, so the next song is a super fun song from Sweden, and it's called Little Frogs. But it comes from a long tradition in Sweden where every summer, at the beginning of the summer, it's called a midsummer holiday, but it's actually in June. So it's not exactly the middle of the summer. So it's a midsummer holiday, and huge groups of people get together to celebrate this festival, and they do it in a big dance called Little Frogs, okay? So first I'll do it in Swedish, and then I'll do it in English, and then I'll teach you how to do the dance, okay? It goes like this. Smågrodorna, är lustiga att se. Smågrodorna, är lustiga att se. Öron, svansar har de. Öron, svansar har de. Kuakaka, kuakaka, kuakaka. Kuakaka, kuakaka, kuakaka. Now what is all of that in English? The little frogs are very fun to see. The little frogs are very fun to see. No ears, no tails do they have. No ears, no tails do they have. A ribbit, 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 ribbit. Ribbit, 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 ribbit. Alrighty, so super easy dance, okay? The first verse, Smågrodorna, when we're just singing about the frogs, we're holding hands and we're dancing around in a big circle, kind of skipping, because it's kind of skipping music, right? And then, öron, put your hands up by your ears, and then, svansar har de, put your hands down by your bottom and show that you don't have a tail. Öron, svansar har de, and then, kuakaka, kuakaka. That is what frogs say in Swedish. So that's when you're going to be jumping. So try it now with the moves. You're going to start out holding hands. Then you're going to put your hands up by your ears and by your non-existent tail. And then you're going to jump. Okay? You ready? Smågrodorna, är lustiga att se. Smågrodorna, är lustiga att se. Öron, svansar har de. Öron, svansar har de. Kuakaka, kuakaka, kuakaka. Kuakaka, kuakaka, kuakaka. Love that song. I'm going to do that sometime midsummer this summer. Now, one of my very favorite songs about the spring and about frogs and about different pitches, which is what we're going to be learning in the next video after this one, is called the Frog Chorus. And this was written sometime back in the 1970s, like 50 years ago, by two songwriters named Rick Glatz and David Stokes. And I'm going to put David Stokes' link to his website down in the comments of this video, because he has wonderful, wonderful, wonderful things all about nature and the environment. And they wrote this song, and it's called the Frog Chorus. Now, the first frogs to wake up in the spring are the spring peepers. Now, everybody put your hands up here, okay? And the spring peepers have a very high voice. And when they wake up, they go, tomatoes, 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 tomatoes. I guess they like tomatoes. And then the next frogs that wake up are the bullfrogs. And the bullfrogs are way down here. You're going to put your low voice on, okay? And the bullfrogs say, mashed potatoes, mashed potatoes, mashed potatoes, mashed potatoes. And then the green frogs wake up. And the green frogs say, fried rice, fried rice, fried rice, fried rice, fried rice. And then the wood frogs wake up and they say, lick it up, lick it up, lick it up, lick it up. So we're going to do a chorus, and I'm going to be your conductor, okay? So if my hand is up here, we got to be putting on our high voice, and we have to be saying, tomatoes, 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 tomatoes. And then when my hand's down here, you're going to say, mashed potatoes, mashed potatoes, mashed potatoes. And then fried rice, fried rice, fried rice, fried rice, fried rice. And lick it up, lick it up, lick it up, lick it up, lick it up. You ready? You ready to follow me? We'll just do this for a few minutes. And if we were all together, everybody would choose which frog they want to be, because of course the frogs don't like talk just one at a time. They all talk together, just like people. They're all talking together all the time. So when we can all be together again, we are going to be making a frog chorus, making all those different sounds. Okay? So follow my hand. I'm going to conduct the frog chorus. You ready? Tomatoes, 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 tomatoes. Mashed potatoes, mashed potatoes, mashed potatoes, mashed potatoes. Fried rice, fried rice, fried rice, fried rice, lick it up. 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 Tomatoes, 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 lick it up. Lick it up. Lick it up. Lick it up. Tomatoes, 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 tomatoes. Lick it up. Lick it up. Lick it up. Fried rice. Fried rice. Lick it up. Fried rice. Fried rice. Lick it up. Fried rice. Fried rice. Lick it up. Mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes. Lick it up. 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 And then the sun comes up and the frogs go to sleep. And that is the end of our Frog Pond Frog Chorus by Rick Glatz and David Stokes. Love that song. We have a couple more songs to do now. And here it is. This is Bunny Rabbit. Bunny Rabbit has lots of different names depending on the song that we're doing. What I want to do now is a wonderful old African American song called John the Rabbit. And this is a call and response song. And call and response songs are wonderful for music class because there's all kinds of things that we can do with them. So in this song, John the Rabbit is, of course, busy eating up our garden. I love rabbits. I don't like it when they eat my vegetables. So John the Rabbit loves my vegetables. And everything I say, you guys have to sing, yes, ma'am. That's what a call and response song is. So I call something out, and that might change, but whatever I call out, you respond back, yes, ma'am. So listen to how this goes. Oh, John the rabbit, yes, ma'am, had a mighty habit, yes, ma'am, of jumping in my garden, yes, ma'am, and eating up my carrots, yes, ma'am, and all my lettuce, yes, ma'am, and all my spinach, yes, ma'am. So if I live, yes, ma'am, to see next fall, yes, ma'am, I ain't gonna have, yes, ma'am, no garden at all, yes, ma'am. So John the rabbit ate the carrots and the lettuce and the spinach, okay? Now, when we're all together in class, I always invite my friends in the class to tell me what else they think John the rabbit might eat out of the garden. So I'm going to put into the song lots of the things that friends have told me in previous years. Are you guys ready for the yes ma'am part? Now this time, every time you hear yes ma'am, you have to sing yes ma'am and you have to jump yes ma'am, just like John the rabbit. Okay? So we already ate up the carrots, the lettuce, and the spinach. We got to come up with 3 other things. So how about peas, peppers, and parsley? We're going for the peas. All right, you ready? Oh, John the rabbit, yes, ma'am, had a mighty habit, yes, ma'am, of jumping in my garden, yes, ma'am, and eating up my peas, yes, ma'am, and all my peppers, yes, ma'am, and all my parsley, yes, ma'am. So if I live, yes, ma'am, to see next fall, yes, ma'am, I ain't gonna have, yes, ma'am, no garden at all, yes, ma'am. Oh, John, stop munching on my garden. All right, John, are you gonna sit there? All right, he's sitting there just for a minute while I get my shaker and my drum. So the other thing we can do with that song, of course, is add instruments to it. So let's add a drum first. So this time, every time I sing yes, ma'am, I'm also going to play yes, ma'am, which, by the way, is ta-ta. So you ready? Let's see. What else is he going to eat? He ate the carrots, the lettuce, the spinach, the peas, the peppers, the parsley. Let's have him eat now the squash, the cucumbers, and the tomatoes. Are you ready? Oh, John the rabbit, yes, ma'am, had a mighty habit, yes, ma'am, of jumping in my garden, yes, ma'am, and eating up my tomatoes, yes, ma'am, and all my squash, yes, ma'am, and all my cucumbers, yes, ma'am. So if I live, yes, ma'am, to see next fall, yes, ma'am, I ain't gonna have, yes, ma'am, no garden at all, yes, ma'am. So I could, of course, also add my shaker, but only on the yes, ma'am. All right, what's John the Rabbit going to eat this time? How about John the Rabbit is going to eat the okra, the eggplant, and the onions. Okay, we ready? Okra, eggplant, and onions. And get your shakers ready. And you can jump and play on the same time. All right? Oh, John the Rabbit, yes, ma'am, had a mighty habit, yes, ma'am, of jumping in my garden, yes, ma'am, and eating up my eggplant, yes, ma'am, and all my okra, yes, ma'am, and all my onions, yes, ma'am. So if I live, yes, ma'am, to see next fall, yes, ma'am, I ain't gonna have a yes, ma'am. No garden at all. Yes, ma'am. And that is totally what rabbits do with our gardens. And I know there's all kinds of ways to protect gardens from rabbits. I have not totally succeeded. Every year I have rabbits chewing on my vegetables. So we talked about how piano and forte are not only part of music, but they're part of our everyday life. And so are staccato and legato. Jumpy and smooth are parts of our everyday life. This is an old English folk song called A Smooth Road to London Town. And it comes from way before there were cars, when people would be going places on horses if they could afford a horse, and with a horse and a buggy if they could afford a buggy. So they would be sitting up on the seat of the buggy, holding onto the reins of the horse, and if it was a smooth road, it would be a smooth ride, but if it was a bumpy road, it would be a bumpy ride. Okay? So everybody sit down on that buggy seat, hold on to your horse reins, and we're going to start out smooth. A smooth road to London town, a smooth road to London town. The road goes up and the road goes down, a smooth road to London town. But by and by we come to a dell, and there the road is not very swell. A bumpy road, a bumpy road, a bumpy road to London town. We're back on the smooth road. A smooth road to London town, a smooth road to London town. The road goes up and the road goes down, a smooth road to London town. But by and by we come to a wood, there the road is not very good. A bumpy road, a bumpy road, a bumpy road to London town. Let's go on the smooth road again. A smooth road to London town, a smooth road to London town. The road goes up and the road goes down, a smooth road to London town. Staccato and legato need to say goodbye. They're going to say goodbye until the next time, when some of their other friends are going to be coming to teach us about low sounds and high sounds. A little bit like our frogs that were saying mashed potatoes and tomatoes, 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 tomatoes. See you soon.